Hello and welcome back to the channel. Before I begin, I want to thank all the subscribers. I want to welcome all the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. And of course, I want to thank you all for the prayers for Levi. I really appreciate it very, very much. Thank you for hitting them likes, those hypes. Shows a lot of support for the channel, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. We're still trying to hit that 10,000 subscriber goal. So if you've been thinking about subscribing, just hit that subscribe button, and when the notification bell comes up, set it on all so you'll be notified whenever a new video gets dropped. Okay, so today, just to change it up a little bit, I'm going to talk about 4 people, including myself. So myself and 3 other individuals who, up until finishing high school, we all took different paths. Okay. So from the time you've been with me on my channel, you guys know I grew up here in East LA, in Maravilla. I joined the neighborhood, the barrio, and, lived that life. Ended up going to jail a lot of times, sometimes for 3 years, sometimes for just a joint suspension, a joint suspended. No, I'm sorry, for a county lit, joint suspended. Yeah, sometimes I just do a county lit, 16 months, then to prison. And then, of course, after getting out of prison, then my life changed for the better. But there was a time in my life when I was in the county jail, and I ran across 2 guys that went to school with me. Okay. And they weren't together. They were in 2 different places. I'll get back to them after. But the 4th guy that I'm going to talk about, his family had a lot of money. He dressed with real expensive taste. He drove a little sports car to school. And when he got out of high school, he bought a car lot, and he sold cars. He bought and sold cars. I went to work for him for a little while as his used car reconditioning manager. In any case, so in high school, we were all in the same grade. Okay. I used to hang around with a guy called Ramon. The guy who bought the car lot's name was Jesse Barrientos. I used to hang around with a guy whose name was Ramon. Every morning we'd meet in front of the school and we'd kick it, him and a couple other guys, and, just bullshit. Talk about schools, talk about girls, whatever. And then there was Martin Acosta. Martin Acosta, he was in a different crowd. He was a short, little, chubby dude. But still, I had him for classes. I knew him. We talked. I was doing real well in school. I was on the honor society. I was always at the top 6 in my class, okay, on the honor roll. So if I wasn't number 3, I was number 6, number 2. I was never number 1, but I was always on the top 6. And when I graduated Pi Theta Kappa honor roll, okay, National Honor Roll Society. And yeah, I did good in school, even though I already had a problem, a chemical dependency problem, and I'd stay out in the street sometimes till 3 o'clock in the morning, running the streets with my homeboys. Then I'd go home, do my homework, sometimes get an hour's sleep, and go to school. Anyways, so we all went our separate ways, right? I ran into Jesse Barrientos, the one with the car lot. I went to work for him for a little while, like I mentioned, and then I got busted. And when I got out, his car lot was gone, and lost touch of him. Ramon and Martin, I don't know. I knew nothing about them. What they ended up doing or what their lives were like. So one day I get busted, and back then we would walk to chow on the same floor. And when I walked out of the module, there was Marna Costa, the little short chubby dude, right? Standing there, telling inmates, hey, put your hands in your pocket. Hey, you, get your shoulder on the wall, the way they'd walk you through. And I seen him, and I read his name, Acosta. I go, damn, that is him. So I go, hey, Martin. And he turned around and he looked at me. I go, hey, is that you? He tells me, shut the fuck up and get in line. Keep moving, right? I was like, oh, maybe that's not him, It sure looks like him. So I go, I eat my food, and when I'm coming back, he's standing there with another deputy, right? And he pulls me out of the line. He goes, hey, you, inmate. And I turned around. He goes, get over here. So I walked up. I go, what's up? He goes, come here. Put your hands on the wall. And he starts checking me, right? And he talks real low, close to me in the back. And he says, hey, don't be fronting me off like that. And I go, that is you, huh? And he goes, yeah, but don't be fronting me off like that. You can't do that. We can't, if they know that I know you, they're going to move me. They're going to ask me, where do I know you from? We can't be like that with the inmates. I go, yeah, don't even trip. Don't worry about it. He goes, hey, real fast. He goes, hey, did you hear what happened to Jesse Barrientos? I told him, no, what happened? He tells me that, dude, he had a very beautiful girlfriend. Even in high school, he had a very, very beautiful girlfriend. Like, always dressed real nice, her hair done, nice looking lady, right? And when I got busted, he had a nice looking wife. And what ended up happening is she ended up having an affair with a deputy. Okay. Well, Jesse catches him, smokes the deputy and her. I don't know. He left the deputy wherever he did his thing with him, but he put her inside his car in the back, in the trunk. And he was driving, and he got pulled over. When they pulled him over, they searched his car and they found her, right? So this little rich, spoiled dude who had everything lined up for him when he got out of high school. I mean, he sold nice cars. He didn't sell no clunkers, man. He sold like Mercedes, BMWs, Jaguars. He sold nice cars. Anyways, this dude ended up getting life without parole. There was no death penalty during that time. So he was in Folsom at the time, in Old Folsom. So that's what Martin was telling me, right? I'm like, damn, I didn't know. He goes, yeah. He goes, didn't you used to work with him? And I go, yeah, I worked for him. He goes, yeah. He goes, yeah, he's gone, man. He's history. He'll never get out. I'm like, damn. So anyways, I go back to my module, and somehow I end up in the chapel, okay? And we're sleeping on the floor in the chapel, and the deputy that's watching us, I look at him and I go, oh shit, that's Ramon. So So I get up and I go, excuse me. I go, can I ask you a question, deputy? He goes, what do you want? I walk up to where he was sitting, right? And I go, hey, Ramon, you don't remember me? And he looked at me and he goes, oh, fuck, Steve, what are you doing here? I go, what do you think? I go, help me out, man, and get me a bed, dude. He goes, what happened? I go, man, I got busted. He goes, man, dude, did you hear what happened to Jesse Barrientos? He tells me, I go, yeah, Martin told me. He goes, oh, you seen Martin? I go, yeah, I seen him working downstairs. He goes, yeah, man, que gacho. So, anyways, these guys ended up becoming deputies, Martin and Ramon. Jesse, in a fit of jealousy, ended up doing what he did. And now he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. If he's still there or if he's still alive, I have no idea. And myself, well, you know my story. I'm just glad that when I got out with an associate's degree, and I found a company that had an education program that sent me to get my bachelor's degree. And it was an aerospace company. They hired me as an engineer. And from there, I went to better and better companies until I was working as a quality assurance manager and safety manager. And then my injuries kicked in, and this, that, and the other happened to me physically that, that pretty much sat me down from all that. But this video is just to kind of illustrate how we all had a choice. All four of us had a choice. We all came from basically the same background, except that in my young life, I chose. And besides, man, I lived right here in my neighborhood with all my friends from elementary school, junior high school, and they were all from the neighborhood, and they lived on my block or on the corner. They were the only people I knew, and I got in with them. They're my homies, and started doing crime, ended up going to jail and prison. So these guys never experienced any of that. They were just straight, They were just square. They were just civilians, normal people. And two of them went on to become officers. And like I said, Jesse Barrientos is going to die now in prison. And like I said, like I started to say, man, I just wanted to say this story to illustrate how four people with kind of the same beginning, except me a little bit was different, but with the same beginning, took different paths. And it all had to do with choices, because they could have chose to do the same thing I did, or I could have chose the same thing that they did, but I made other plans for my life, and some decisions weren't the best decisions for me. Some were the wrong decisions for me, not only for me but for my family. Because I had my first child at 16, and when I say I had my child when I was 16, I had an apartment with his mom and that child. Ourselves, by ourselves. We had our own apartment. I had a car, I was working. I was still from the neighborhood, So I'm not trying to glorify anything that I did while growing up, but I started my life at a very young age, doing adult things, because nowadays kids are playing video games till they're 21. Some till they're older, they get jobs, careers, and they're still playing video games. They just like video games, But kids are growing up at a I think at a slower rate. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it just appears that way to me. But it all came down to choices. But one thing I want to mention though that I think is real important, part of this story is that before I went to work in manufacturing and in quality and in machining and all of this stuff, um, I worked as a mechanic for 13 years. Okay, my early teens into my early 20s. For 13 years, I worked as a mechanic, and I found that job. It was interesting at first, but after a while, I got tired of busting my knuckles. Those of you who work on your cars or worked as a mechanic know, sometimes you're turning a wrench, and it'll either the bolt will strip out or it'll just loosen all of a sudden, and your hand will move forward, and you'll hit another part of the engine and bust your knuckles up. Or you got to do a tune-up, and the car's hot, the people don't have a lot of time, and you want the job, so you're taking the spark plugs off while the manifold, which is around the spark plugs, is hot. So you got to be careful to not get burned. You get burned. I got tired of getting burned. I got tired of having grease in my nails, in my like where your fingerprints, they don't get clean. You could use the best soap, scrub them with a little scrubber, but they still look dirty. So you're eating your lunch with your hands like that. You're at dinner with your family and your hands look like you're dirty. No matter how much you scrub it takes at least a couple of days not working on cars, scrubbing them, for it to go away, unless they came out with something good that cleans them these days. But I didn't like it no more. I didn't like the idea of getting up early in the morning, just finished having my coffee, taking a shower, going to work, and having to get on my knees and slide under and put the floor jack, the legs to the jack, underneath the car, adjust them, and lift the car up and get under there. And sometimes it'd be raining and the car's still dripping water, and you're getting all that stuff on you while you're checking the car. And it was just a dirty, hard. It wasn't for me. I didn't like it. And I changed careers. At the age of 30, I decided to try machining. So at the place where I was working at Union Technology, we made parts for satellites, and they had CNCs there, and I caught on real fast. And during my lunch, I'd go and the CNC setup guy would teach me, and the boss seen I was interested, so he gave me a chance working in that department, and I did good. I ended up becoming a supervisor, night shift supervisor at that company. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter at what age you are, you could always change your career. When I got busted, I knew machining, inspection, with a CMM. It's a computer controlled inspection machine. I knew how to do setups and run the CNCs. But when I got out of prison, I went into quality control. And that was at age, what was I, like 40 years old, I think. At 40 years old, again, I changed my career. I made more money, So, if you're stuck in a job, you're unhappy, you could always change careers. Don't be afraid to go look for a different job. Just make sure that the benefits are equal or better, You don't need to be stuck in a miserable job. And like that story, everything we do, man, it comes down to just making decisions, man, making the right decisions at the right time and what's best for you. And if you have a family, then you got to always factor them in. What's best for you, what's best for your family, With that being said, God bless you. God bless your families. Stay free, people. Stay out from behind those bars. and those prison walls, man. Let's enjoy life and all the beautiful things that life has to offer, and be here for when our family needs us. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you on the next video. Muchas gracias.